What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Dallas Cowboys addict here again with another video. In this video I want to talk about Jason Garrett. And there are reports out there today, and have been for the last couple of days, that the Dallas Cowboys are working on an extension for Jason Garrett. And what I want to do in this video is I want to kind of look at him, and I know that this is a polarizing topic. I mean, there are a lot of Cowboy fans that look at Jason Garrett and they said he hasn't done anything in the time that he's been here. We have 2 playoff wins, can't get past the divisional round, 3 8-8 seasons in a row. And so what I want to do in this video is try to look at this thing as objectively as I possibly can, and put some of my personal biases on the back burner, so to speak, and just kind of look at this from an objective perspective and just kind of leave it at that. What I want to do is I want to look at Garrett's overall resume. Like, what are some things that he has done well versus the things that that he hasn't done so well, to kind of use the Jason Garrett vernacular right there. Do some things well, do some things not so well. Kind of the generic type responses that you often get, but he's not going to let the media know a lot of things. So a lot of head coaches are like that. But let's just kind of talk about this thing, and I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Tell me what you think about this topic. Should the Cowboys extend Garrett for the foreseeable future? And if so, why? If not, why not? So let's take a look at some of the things about his record. A lot of the times when you hear the national talking heads talk about Garrett and his tenure as a head coach, they call him Mr. 8-8, that he's just an 8-8 coach. And you know what? That was true for 3 seasons in a row. But Sean Payton, he had 3 7-9 seasons in a row. But what saved him is he's got that Super Bowl. Garrett doesn't have that. But be that as it may, people refer to Jason Garrett as being Mr. 8-8. He's going to get you. He's going to keep you in the conversation. He's going to make you think that they're close to taking the next step, and just in the end of the day, he's just going to leave you disappointed. But when you look at the regular season record, Jason Garrett is 77-59 since taking over the head coaching duties for the Dallas Cowboys. That includes the 8 games that he served as the interim coach in 2010, where he went 5-3 after that 1-7 start. But the regular season record, wow, that like Shania Twain, that doesn't impress me much. As a Cowboys fan, anything short of the Super Bowl is unacceptable. That's just the way it is. That is the reality of things when it comes to America's team. The Dallas Cowboys, in the illustrious history, we have been to 8 Super Bowls. If you average out our history and the number of years that we've been around, in 58 seasons now, we've got 5 rings. That's basically winning 1 Super Bowl every 10 years so far. We got to get this next one to kind of keep that average, going. But the Super Bowl is the standard. That goes all the way back to the days beginning, really starting with Don Meredith in 1966, when we went to that, that first NFL championship game against the Packers. So the expectations and the standards for Cowboys fans is Super Bowl or bust. I mean, that's how I look at it. That's how I've looked at it as long as I can remember. And growing up in the 90s, you get spoiled. I got spoiled. And going in from the 90s on, I thought the Cowboys, as long as Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin were in there, that we were going to win the Super Bowl. This is the way it was. you know, and then in 1997 they go 6-10, and I still was saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but you know things fell apart in that year. But you know, we look at the playoff record for Jason Garrett. We look at his playoff appearances: 2014, 2016, 2018. There's not really been any consistency back-to-back berths into the postseason, and that's what we are shooting for. That's what you play for. You play for the postseason. He's played in 5 playoff games. And, you know, that's the record that really matters to us as fans. Playoffs. Postseason hardware. So he's 2-3 in the playoffs. Did win a playoff game this year. Did bring the team back from being 3-5, kept the team invested in the message, whatever the message is that he's preaching. And so, you know, you've got to, you know, I said in my very first video on here, if you saw that it's time to give Jason Garrett at least some of the props for, you know, the turnaround. And when you think about it, he did turn this team around. That, you know, I'm sure, you know, he had some say in that Amari Cooper trade. I mean, they don't just not do things without conferring with the head coach. So he obviously was on board with that move. And, you know, since that trade went down, they were 8-1 up until the divisional round of the playoffs. So you have a 79-62 record overall since 2010. And you start thinking about some of the other things on Garrett's resume. In 2007, he was the assistant coach of the year. They went 13-3 that year. Wade Phillips was the head coach at that time. And in 2016, you know, after the abysmal 2015 and couldn't even buy, you know, a victory, you know, with the backup quarterbacks that we had. And you look at the abysmal coaching that was done, that you would think that a coaching staff that was worth anything could get more than one win without Tony Romo in 2015. But Matt Castle got that one win against the Redskins on that Monday night game. But, you know, a lot of us are looking at that as that you've got to be able to coach these backup players to be able to win games. And so what happens in 2016? Tony Romo goes down in the preseason, and we're like, oh no, here it goes again. We're not going to be worth anything. And here comes Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott comes in, and he's just cool, calm, and collected. And he's been that way throughout his entire career. You cannot shake him up. And with a rookie quarterback, rookie running back, best offensive line in the game, the Cowboys go 13-3. And Garrett gets the NFL Coach of the Year in 2016. And so these are some of the things that we're fighting with as fans. That Jason Garrett is a he's a decent coach. He's better than some, but he's obviously not as good as others. And of course, when you ask Cowboy fans, you know, if you had your choice of coach, who would your top list of guys be? And you would have getting rid of Garrett in a heartbeat. But as Bill Parcells said concerning quarterbacks, you can't dial 1-800 get a quarterback. Same thing. There's no 800 number for a head coach either, like it or not. So the Cowboys are working on an extension for Jason Garrett. Don't know the term, don't know the length or anything like that. And the thing is, you're looking at this season and you're a lot of fans, and I don't understand this mentality, they're saying just tank it. Just tank the season. 3-5. Don't even try to salvage this thing. Get Garrett out of here. Get Linehan out of here. But what happens? We go 8-1 in the final 9 games of the season, get to playoffs with the NFC East, and things are looking up. The star is pointing up. We have one of the lowest, or one of the youngest teams in the league. But you know, you think about Garrett, and he's good enough to get you there, but is he good enough to get you over the hump? And in 9 seasons, 2 playoff wins, 3 playoff appearances, doesn't really match up with the standard. And I'm just, I'm a little bit frustrated about this. I mean, he did turn the thing around, and you don't know what the future holds. This is the modern era of the NFL. This is not the 1960s and 70s where it took Tom Landry, 11 or 12 years to win the Super Bowl. For the longest time, they were considered next year's champions. It seems like it's kind of that way now. But, hopefully, over the last couple of years, we've shown at least a little bit of consistency. We haven't been 8-8. We at least have had 3 consecutive winning seasons, and we'll see what the future holds. I mean, you can't really. I mean, I know coaches have gotten fired. A lot of coaches have gotten fired for a lot less production, and even some with a lot more production. Remember, Marty Schottenheimer got fired after going 14-2, I think it was, in the regular season, but lost that playoff game, and the Chargers fired him after that. And I mean, I don't know what it is about Jason Garrett that Jerry loves so much. If someone knows, give me some insight on that. Somebody personally knows Jerry and has heard Jerry talk about this subject. What is it about Jason Garrett that thinks that he is the guy to lead us to the Super Bowl? Then I'm all ears on that. But I'm a little bit nervous about him getting it, because I think a lot of it, I think by now he should have done something. And so I just kind of worry. I wonder if it's going to be a lot of the same. So tell me what you guys think. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification.